Hi, I'm Anna, and I'm going to be doing my presentation on the economics of chocolate and the chocolate industry. So, just an overview of the industry and what's going on with it right now. This is a market size and forecast that I got from Intel.com. Chocolate dollar sales growth will remain elevated in 2024 as cocoa prices are surging, but steadier growth is expected on the horizon. The estimated chocolate market size in 2024 is 26.59 billion. Growth in 2024 is estimated to be 8.5%, and long-term growth is estimated to be 17%. So there is a huge issue going on with the chocolate industry right now and cocoa prices, and the reason why that's the main reason why I decided to do my presentation on this industry. Cocoa prices is at a record high because of changing weather patterns in West Africa, which is the crop's main growing region, which is causing a decline in production. So, just some overall facts about chocolate. For one and two chocolate consumers, chocolate is part of weekly routines. So I put this in here because it's important to note that chocolate is it's a very emotionally based food. People eat it when they're sad to feel better. People have cravings for it, unlike I think a lot of other foods. And so it's important to note that consumers are really always buying chocolate and also eating it as well. And these changing prices definitely has an effect on that. And so cocoa prices reached record highs in April 2024 and will keep increasing. So 20 April is when we really saw the prices increase. And cocoa prices have doubled since the start of 2024. And due to these rising prices and other factors impacting chocolate, consumers may opt for more affordable and cost efficient non-chocolate confections to satisfy their sweet cravings. So this meaning like gummy candy, fruity candy, gum, basically those kind of sweet candies that don't have chocolate in them. Um, and so that steep rise spells trouble for the chocolate business and sweet tooth consumers alike. Hershey and Mondelez International, the owner of Cadbury, passed on these two costs to shoppers last year. Hershey's year-on profits fell by 11.5% during the fourth quarter, and the company recently announced that it would cut 5% of its workforce. Um, Barry Callebaut, the world's largest chocolate maker, said that it would lay off 2,500 people, 18% of that being or 18% of its workforce. So you can see that this higher cost on cocoa prices is affecting these companies in ways that it's not just having to rise their prices for their products, but they're having to make huge budget cuts and cut some of their workforce as well. And so this is a really good graph that I found on Mantel.com. This is a spotlight on skyrocketing cocoa prices. So you see cocoa prices have always been going up. As you would see on most graphs, the prices are always going up. In 2009, it hit a pretty high point, and then it never really got that high again until we go over to 2024. It has literally skyrocketed, going vertical. And this is pretty much due to the climate changes effects on the cocoa and how it's growing. And yeah, so this graph is really good to see. And so market structures. So the chocolate industry is considered an oligopoly because it is dominated by a small number of large companies. So the two largest companies being Hershey and Mars. Hershey produces Hershey candy bars. Reese's. Mars is producing your Twix, Mars candy bars, Wrigley's gum. They've also broken into like pet food, two huge companies. And so just some facts of this market structure, the oligopoly, is that there's a few dominant players. So this market is controlled by the major players like Nestle, Mars, Mondelez, Hershey, and Barry Callebaut. There are high barriers to entry. So the chocolate industry is requiring substantial investment in production, branding, distribution, which is creating these high barriers to entry for new competitors. These rising cocoa prices is a huge part of this issue as these smaller companies won't be able to afford chocolate compared to the large companies. This enables existing firms to maintain control over prices. So price competition and mutual interdependence, are huge factors of oligopolies. Companies in an oligopoly often closely monitor each other's pricing strategies. As price changes by one company, it can significantly impact the market dynamics. And there is limited supplier bargaining power. Cocoa farmers, the primary suppliers, operate in fragmented markets and face significant disadvantages in negotiating prices with these large chocolate manufacturers. This dynamic leads to an inequitable profit distribution across the supply chain, with large companies retaining higher margins even as cocoa prices rise. And so, what does this really mean for what does this structure really have to do with the rising cocoa prices? Well, again, like now you're having it's creating even more barriers to entry as these smaller chocolate companies can't afford this cocoa, and the two largest companies have so much control over the market and so much demand power with the cocoa suppliers. And so it's really threatening these small companies to join. Consumer elasticity and supply and demand. So there are cocoa price instabilities. Obviously, the recent surge in cocoa prices due to supply surges and climate changes is affecting the cost structure of chocolate producers and their pricing strategies. Also, I looked into consumer behavior. Again, chocolate demand is relatively elastic, meaning consumers reduce purchases or may reduce their purchases if prices rise significantly, meaning they will try to find other alternative options to the chocolate that they're buying. By creating a perception of value, premium quality, or ethical responsibility, companies can sustain higher price points without significant demand loss. Taste and preferences is a huge point of really any food industry, and it's really big in the chocolate industry. So these younger consumers are really focused on health conscious products. So modern consumers, they are increasingly preferring chocolate with health benefits such as reduced sugar, high cacao content, added superfoods. This shift in taste drives the production of dark chocolate and plant-based options. There's also demand for ethical and sustainable products. So consumers are now favoring chocolate products that ensure fair labor practices and environmental sustainability. There's also higher preferences on ethically sourced or organic chocolate, which drives the growth of the premium chocolate segments. So this allows companies to charge at higher prices. Implications for demand elasticity. There is a taste driven inelastic demand. So, for high quality or niche products, stronger consumer preferences can make demand less sensitive to price changes. There is an elasticity in the mass market products for everyday chocolates. Price sensitivity is higher as consumers may switch to alternatives if the price rises. And then production and innovation. Companies innovate to meet changing tastes, such as introducing vegan chocolates or even using alternative sweeteners. Um, Taste and preference shifts encourages brands to focus on storytelling and branding, emphasizing unique qualities to attract specific consumer groups. So, while the problem with chocolate right now is it's a negative issue, and these companies are ultimately spending so much money on chocolate and losing money on sales. Um, um, they are able to focus on more alternative options. So, lessening the chocolate in a product, or finding more ethically sourced chocolate, or just trying to reach different consumer groups, because these consumer groups are constantly changing. And this is the sources that I use, these 4 articles I use. Until I used chocolate, one from there, the Economics, and Food Dive, and then CNBC. And yeah.